Hello, this is day 13, the tapping solution. Tapping away your desire to drink. Now, this is something I've been doing for about 15 years. I have taught my clients how to deal with stress through tapping. That's right, tapping, the tapping solution. Tapping can make the entire recovery process both easier and shorter, potentially preventing relapses and giving addicts a way to treat themselves on a day-to-day, moment-to-moment basis. This is by David Rourke. He's an EFT tapping practitioner who specializes in addiction recovery. So this is from your expert here. Cutting back or stopping the drinking or using drugs. Thanks to Roger Callahan, Gary Craig, and others, there is now a technique that can make it easier. Gary Craig has had a lot of things online that you can look up to how to tap. The technique is popularly known as EFT, Emotional Freedom Technique. Emotional Freedom Technique. It was first developed as the 5-minute phobia cure by Dr. Roger Callahan to cure phobias, fears, and anxieties. What this stuff does, it short circuits your objections and goes straight to the healing, to tell you the truth. This can get rid of anger within 5 minutes. Say you're super angry about something, you just tap and say a couple of affirmations and the anger actually dissipates. It's like, where did it go? Gary Craig called this new system of emotional healing EFT tapping, or simply tapping. Now, you don't have to make it complicated. There used to be all these steps I'd go through, and then one day I finally read from somebody, it doesn't matter which order you tap in or which meridians you tap on. And I'll cut to the chase, people, because this is what I like, simplicity. You have meridians. They're energy centers. Chinese medicine focuses on them more than American medical. They're more mind-body, whereas we're more medical and drug treatment. With this tapping, there are meridians. Think about acupuncture. When they stick the little needles, that's what they're doing. They're sticking them into meridians. And you say, where are the meridians in my body? They are all throughout your body. If you just go down anywhere on your arms, legs, stomach, face, head, they're everywhere. They're just little, think of them as if you had your body and you drew like a line on your body all the way from your top to your bottom. Now, divide the line up, okay, like it's, how do you say that? Like 1-inch lines, okay? On every one of those spaces, there's a meridian. So it doesn't really matter where you tap because you will hit a meridian, and they're all throughout your body. They're energy centers. That's it, simply. It says these acupressure points lie on a set of meridians or pathways in the body where the vital energy is thought to flow. It's simple to learn and easy to perform for yourself. It can radically accelerate the process of recovery. That's right. And this is what we want. We want it quick. When you are craving that drug of choice, or even wanting to overeat or anything, it slows you down. It stops you. The stupidest thing you'll ever do. When we first introduce tapping to people, most of them think it's really weird. It's too simple to help, but not something you would really want anyone else to catch you doing. I've done it at car lights, okay, when I'm just stopped at the traffic. Tapping is probably the stupidest thing you'll ever do. Think about it. There are special places all over your face and body, and you can bang on those long enough by saying some words and imagining some stuff, and all your problems will go away. Well, I hate to tell you, but they're not going to go away, but they're going to be alleviated as far as the stress. You know how on days when you're ragefully angry and it takes a while to come down from it? Well, this can happen within minutes. Okay, this can happen with a craving. This can happen with you're starving and you want to eat, and you just tap on it, and it really does help alleviate the stress. Let's face it, you know when you're sitting there and your eyes are closed and you're trying to picture your inner 4-year-old touching your face like a crazy person with a nervous tic and mumbling that you truly, deeply love and accept yourself anyway. You probably feel pretty stupid, but that's okay. That's what these are. These are mind games. They don't have to feel stupid at all. It's getting your body to work. And with the conventional way, it's like go to the therapist, talk. The therapist hardly says anything, a blank slate, and then you leave. With hypnotherapy, it's very mind-body, and you are interacting with yourself. That's right. Like many others were skeptical about tapping at first, but once they tried it and with their families, they were blown away by its speed and effectiveness. Now, how tapping is changing recovery work. Tapping is a technique that can help you successfully quit or cut back on using in as little as 30 days. Breaking an addiction or a strong habit no longer has to be painful or require the same constant effort as it did a few years ago. You don't have to rely solely on your willpower or confessional meetings. That's right. This is more of something you can do for yourself. You can do it alone. You can do it in the bathroom. You just tap. This will reduce the physical symptoms of withdrawal. This can clear emotions such as guilt and shame, replace limiting beliefs, like I'm never going to stop drinking, I'm never going to get out of this, I'm never going to find the perfect job, and resolve any original underlying emotional issues that led to alcohol or drug abuse in the first place. So what this does, again, we're not just saying stop, like, white knuckle it and just stop. Like when they tell people on these 1,000-pound shows on TLC, I actually am applying to work there right now, part-time, because it just really ticks me off when they tell these people that are 1,000 pounds and then they go to the MD, the professional, and all he has is some drugs to give you to stop, or a shot, or when he says, just stop. Ooh, I could just slap him right through the television, because they come home and they're like, I can't stop. And then the doctor weighs him a week later and says, what did you do? And the guilt, I know, I used to have weight problems. And it just perpetuates the problem, okay? When you tell somebody just to stop the drugs, stop using. Just stop. That does not work, people. You wish it did, but it doesn't. Here's an example of how powerful tapping can be. This guy says a patient named Kath visited Marlindwin Edwards, a master's at tapping, as at a last resort in her fight against her addiction. At the time, she was just managing to hang on by the threads of life, a professional and a young mother of two. 2 months before her visit, she had been on Antabuse, a medication that makes alcohol unpalatable, to help her abstain. However, her problems and cravings remained, and without alcohol, she had no way of tranquilizing her anxiety. It was an emotionally volatile state. So here we go, folks. The tapping replaces the drug of choice. That's right, because it relaxes you. That's right. During the first session with Mare, she learned the basic tapping procedure and focusing on getting rid of a slight headache. After 2 rounds of tapping, she felt her mind was clearer and her headache felt different. By the 3rd round, her headache was completely gone. Kath went home with instructions to use tapping on every concern before her next appointment the following week. That's right. And Kath, on her second session, she was exuberant. She had used tapping to reduce her anxiety about everything and everyone. Tapping made her calm and confident each time she used it. She's actually retraining her subconscious mind where your behavior lies. Remember how we've talked about that? Tapping throughout her busy day, as well as on her way home, enabled her to reduce the buildup of stress. It's like meditating, but therapy at the same time. It gave her confidence to face situations she had previously feared. That's right. This is how it works. When you experience emotional or physical pain, your brain's stress response kicks in. And whether you're upset by a current event or an old memory stored in your subconscious mind, right? That's how you heal. You take the part that's unconscious and you bring it up to light. That's right. It's grist for the mill. What we used to say in therapy. Whenever you're upset by a current event or an old memory, the emotional part of the brain releases a cascade of stress hormones like cortisol and adrenaline, which then communicate the stress to your entire body in a matter of seconds. And this cortisol and adrenaline, it's so hard to bring it back, especially on seniors. When you get stressed out, it is hard to get that cortisol and adrenaline back in. So by gently tapping on a series of 8 acupressure points on your body when you feel stressed, a second signal travels to your brain telling you you're safe. And this signal that you're safe breaks the brain's association with the bad event and stress response. See? And once the link is broken, it usually stays broken. Here's how it works in relation to reducing the cravings for drugs. When you get a physical craving, your body becomes stressed and you feel anxious. In the past, using was a way to relieve the stress, right? Some addicts say, I got to take my medicine. But by tapping, that's an intermediate thing. You can calm your anxiety by easily with a few harmful side effects. Fewer than drinking. There's no side effects. Specifically, you can calm the part of your brain called the amygdala. You know that word, Amygdala. I can usually pronounce it, but right now I can't. Which disrupts the production of the stress hormone that's flooding through your body. That's right. So this calms the part of your brain, the stress hormone, which disrupts the production of stress hormones that are flooding into your body. So your body and mind can then relax. And when your body and mind relax, your need to use disappears. And this, to some people, is like magic. When they first discover this, they can't believe it. Some people, this is the cure for them. Other people don't get this method as well. It just depends on you. Gloria Aronson, the author of the book EFT for Procrastination, specializes in helping people overcome compulsive behaviors. She has found that people struggling with an addiction or abuse problem usually would struggle with a kind of a super stress. This occurs when you feel totally powerless about something in your life and reflectively tell themselves, it's really awful and there's nothing I can do about it. Oh my gosh, that is the definition of insanity, doing something every day and nothing ever changes, right? Super stress. Oh my gosh, I have that. I think we all have it. It creates an imbalance in the feel-good brain chemical dopamine and serotonin, which produces a craving of any substance, such as alcohol, food, gambling, shopping, whatever makes you feel good at the time. The problem is the relief is only temporary. And when the stressful situation continues, the craving returns. The cool thing is about tapping, EFT, is that it replenishes your levels of dopamine and serotonin, and so the craving stops. Wow, wow, wow. Put a circle around that, people. Write that in your notes. The cool thing about tapping, it replenishes your levels of dopamine and serotonin, and so stops the craving. A good deal of research supports this. The stuff I do, people think, a lot of people that have never understood hypnotherapy think it's woo-woo, but it's not. A lot of this stuff is based on science. That's right, especially neuroscience. A good deal of scientific research shows that tapping is effective for reducing cravings and addiction. For a study published in the Journal of Integrative Medicine, Dawson Church and Audrey Brooks examined cravings among 216 healthcare workers before and after the tapping. In the study, trays of alcohol, cake, and candy were brought in the room so that the participants could get fully in touch with what their craving was. Okay, and then the participants identified childhood events linked to their craving, such as Mommy always gave me ice cream after my piano lesson, and Dad always had a beer with me on the weekends, the day I turned 15. He died when I was 18, and I miss him so much. After about 30 minutes of tapping on the emotional intensity related to those childhood events, their cravings dropped an astonishing 83%. And symptoms of anxiety and depression dropped by an average of 45%. So people, this is a tool. Put this in your tool bag. That's right, for solutions. The Emotional Freedom Technique, EFT. Now here's 5 ways you can use it for your drinking, okay? People have all kinds of reasons why they use drugs and drink. But it all boils down to stress. I don't care what your story is. It could be the past. It could be stress from today, okay? And fear. Drinking is one way to tranquilize difficult emotions and keep them under control. It's socially accepted. What we're discovering with EFT is that it's possible to eliminate stress, anxiety, and other damaging emotions altogether. So the need for self-medication strongly disappears. This is your answer, peeps. EFT, tapping, tapping. When an addictive behavior serves no useful purpose, the behavior simply disappears too. This was Gary Craig. He's the founder of EFT and the author of the first edition of the EFT manual. Now, using this tapping can help you accelerate your recovery in the following ways. 5 ways. Reduce your desire to drink or the craving. Tapping can also often provide fast relief for cravings, which allows you to stop the use of the drug or alcohol with less pain. Reduces your symptoms of withdrawal. Wow, so many people relapse because they say, I just couldn't take the symptoms. Tapping can help you with any physical, emotional side effects from using. Number 3, it releases any feelings and limiting beliefs about cutting back or stopping. On day 11, with the lie detector solution, we ask you to make a list of all your limiting beliefs, okay, including the lies you told yourself about using. You can use tapping to clear these and any other limiting beliefs that you uncover. Yay! And number 4, releases any painful feelings that are associated with drinking or using or trying to quit. That's right. Cutting back on using and stopping can bring to the surface a wild range of emotions because you were using maybe to cover up guilt, shame, embarrassment. How about self-hatred? A little bit of fear, anger, or low self-esteem. We all suffer from all of these, people. If these are not cleared properly, they'll keep you stuck. Think about the emotion. You may have been angry at somebody your entire life. Dr. Wayne Dyer, I was listening to him this morning, and he was so mad at his dad for leaving his mom and having him land up in an orphanage. And this story is amazing, how he was led to find his father in this graveyard. And when he found him, boy, he gave him some pieces of his mind about his anger and what a low-life so-and-so his father was. And he was in that, up at the father's headstone for 3 hours. But he was surprised at what he did toward the end. He says, Father, I forgive you. I don't know why you did this. I never knew you, so I don't know your story. And it's too hard for me to hold all this anger and hate. So from this day forward, it never happened. I am letting everything go. You are forgiven. And I'm going on with my life. That story just blows my mind because one of the best self-help books I ever read, probably the first one, was Your Erroneous Zones. That was a bestseller. It sold 3-point-something million copies. It's in 48 languages. Your Erroneous Zones. And after he cleared his head from forgiving his father, he went home and wrote that book in 2 weeks. People, makes me want to finish my books. I tell you, tapping works, okay? Releasing the guilt works. Forgiveness works, okay? So where was I? Releasing any feelings and limiting beliefs about cutting back or quit using. Right, the lie detector test. We ask you to make a list of your limiting beliefs, including the lies you've told yourself about using. Like, oh, I can stop tomorrow, or it's the weekend, so I need to use, or I'm just cutting back, so I'm just giving myself a little taste of it. So it's my medicine. Okay, and number 4, releases any painful feelings that are associated with using or trying to quit. Right? If they're not cleared properly, you will just keep going through the loop of guilt, shame, embarrassment, self-hatred, fear, anger, low self-esteem. Okay? Cutting back or quitting using can bring to the whole surface a wide range of these emotions. Okay? And you can tap to alleviate them. So, and number 5, it identifies and resolves the original events, the emotional issues, and the underlying feelings that caused you to drink in the first place. This is so friggin' major right here. Put 3 X's on it in your journal. Let's read it again. Identifies and resolves the original events. My son can tell you the original events that caused him to start using. The emotional issues and underlying feelings that caused your drinking problems or using problems. So drugs and alcohol is often the result of painful, traumatic experiences from your past and unresolved feelings that you have not dealt with. Tapping can help you identify and resolve those experiences, okay? The true cause of addiction is anxiety, an uneasy feeling that is temporarily masked or tranquilized by some substance or behavior. And then they give this example of this guy named Jose and how he tapped, okay? He was drinking 4 large bottles of beer, equivalent to 11, 12 ounce bottles every night. He began at 6 and he drank until the auto shop he owned closed, and he continued to drink in the evening until he passed out. And this is a common pattern, okay? Then Jose met the EFT practitioner, Javier Gomez, who was able to identify in only one session that drinking wasn't his real issue. Rather, it was the loss of his father and brother, with whom he had been very close about 7 years earlier. Jose had not been able to let go of the pain from losing 2 of his closest family members. So Javier decided to use a very simple tapping technique to help free Jose from his sadness and loneliness, which took less than 20 minutes. After this short tapping session, Jose reported feeling liberated, as he headed back to work. Now, as he got ready for bed, he suddenly realized that he hadn't needed a drink that night. He hadn't even thought about it. He couldn't believe it. And each of the following 3 nights, he didn't drink either. This is all from one session of tapping, peeps. On the 5th night, after his first tapping session, some of his drinking friends showed up with a lot of beer, which usually would have meant that Jose would drink even more than usual. But he declined their offer easily. He still had no desire to drink. Wow, they really nailed it with his dad and his brother's death. This might sound unbelievable, but we have consistently seen that these kinds of results with tapping. Jose dealt with his alcoholism by tapping on and tapping into his core issue, which was his grief over losing his father and his brother. This is why it's important to really go deep, people. I told you, this drinking isn't just about, or drugs isn't just about 1, 2, 3, I'll stop and I'll be a strong person. You have to go through it. What caused this? By now, you know that the key to thriving in sobriety is dealing with the root cause of your using, your unresolved emotional issues. If you went through a painful experience, such as flunking out of school, being passed up for a promotion, losing a job, declaring bankruptcy, discovering that your spouse cheated on you and getting divorced, or losing a loved one, you will ultimately need to deal with these feelings of loss, betrayal, unworthiness, or low self-esteem. Now, folks, tapping is a perfect solution. In fact, tapping can free you from the painful feelings in a fraction of the time it would take with more traditional methods of therapy. And this is why Dr. Cindy is a hypnotherapist. I like to cut to the chase. That's right. So you can use the top of your head, your eyebrow, the outside of your eye, under your nose, under your chin, your collarbone, and under the arm, the karate chop on the hand. Now, I would suggest looking this up, Google this, or YouTube it. I have one on my site. If you see me tapping on my head, that was my tapping exercise. You can go ahead and refer back to that one too. But they have those everywhere because the EFT tapping is, it's an accepted protocol now, so it's everywhere. You can learn the basic protocol in 10 minutes. And like I tell you, if you're lazy right now and you don't feel like really going through the examples, just tap on the top of your head, okay? At your eyebrows, under your eyes, and then under your nose, under your mouth, under your chin, your collarbone, okay? The great thing about tapping is easy, and you can learn it in under 10 minutes. So you can learn how to tap by going through the comparison website. Here it is again, http:// Day13 and watch the introduction to the basic tapping video. I think this would be very powerful for you, and most of you will just love this, okay, for overcoming anxiety, for dealing with the past, PTSD. Decide what issues you want to tap on. In tapping, the issues you're working on is sometimes referred to as your most pressing issue. Like say you got really, really mad. Well, that's what you're going to want to tap on. Okay? Now, decide if you want to tap on a craving or a physical discomfort, an uncomfortable or painful emotion, or a limiting belief that you would like to clear, let go of. Give it his name as craving this glass of wine, or my headache, or my anger at my ex, or my fear of rejection, my being upset with my husband, my belief that I can't relax without using. All of these. I'm afraid that people will judge me and make fun of me if I don't use with them. This is all grist for the mill for tapping. Now, I'll give you the other part to it, which is your affirmations in a second. And what they want you to do is focus from 0 to 10 on how much this problem has an intensity for you. 0 meaning no intensity, and then all the way up to 10 means this problem is driving me out of my mind, like craving this alcohol or whatever. Then set it up. Now, what you need is a statement. So you can go, a lot of people just say this, even though, and then fill in the blank with whatever it is that's bothering you. Even though I am craving this vodka, I deeply and completely love and accept myself. Now, when you say even though, and you fill in the blanks, you can write this in your journal. Even though, fill in the blanks with whatever issue, my craving, my feeling, my pain, my limited belief. I deeply and completely love myself and accept myself. Okay? Even though I am feeling overwhelmed today, I deeply love and accept myself. Even though I'm feeling like I don't have answers today, I deeply love and accept myself. That's right, tapping, people, tapping. You might even tap for a headache. Even though I have this headache, I deeply and completely love myself. And when you tap, you're tapping gently. Okay, just enough to just notify your body that you're tapping. It's a tap, not a hit. So it can get rid of a headache. You might even, though I have a headache, I deeply and completely love myself. Okay, so if you're tapping to get rid of a limiting belief, you might say, even though I have this belief that I can't relax without using, I deeply and completely love myself. The main thing is feeling deeply and completely loved and accepted. Once you've set up the statement, you can begin tapping. And have fun with it. Get the diagram online, look at the diagram, and put your fingers wherever you want. And remember, it's a game. There's really no rule to it. At first, I thought there was this rule and a way to do it, and I was always hung up on the method. And then one day somebody said, just tap. There's meridians all through your body. If you're too stressed out, sometimes you can just tap on your knees if you're at a light to release some of your pain. That's right, or your cravings. Now, choose a reminder phrase. Your reminder phrase consists of a few words to remind you of your issue, which you will say out loud as you tap on the sequence of the 8 points of the tapping sequence. It can be as simple as this urge to drink, what you're going to fill it in, this feeling of shame. Working with your statements, your reminder phrase could be this fear of rejection. Tap through your points. You could be using this fear of rejection, tapping lightly, but don't worry about being too precise. Remember, tapping is very forgiving. Tap lightly but firmly. If you can't tap a certain point due to an injury, just skip that point and tap on another one. Tap on the top of your head for the fear of rejection. The eyebrow, this fear of rejection. Outside of the eye, this fear of rejection. Under the eye, this fear of rejection. Under the nose, this fear of rejection. Under the chin, this fear of rejection. On the collarbone, this fear of rejection. And under the arm, this fear of rejection. And you can go 3 or 4 rounds, okay? You just, once you finish one round, start another one. Add a positive choice statement. When the intensity levels drop to 4 or less, you can create 1 or more statements affirming a positive thought or action you could use. Use this structure. Even though I have this fear of rejection, I choose to, and then you can fill in the blank with a positive action. Take a nice walk. Even though I have this fear of rejection, I choose to take a nap right now. Even though I have this fear of rejection, I choose to go to the grocery store right now. Even though I'm afraid of being rejected if I don't use with my friends, I choose to go out and have a good time anyways. A positive choice might look like this, top of the head. Even though I'm afraid of being rejected if I don't use, or on the eyebrow, I choose to go and have a good time anyway. You're tapping on the eyebrow. And then you're tapping outside the eye. Even though I'm afraid of being rejected if I don't use, then tap under the eye. I choose to believe nobody will even notice if I don't make a big deal about it. Okay? Even though under the nose, I'm afraid of being rejected if I don't use, then go down to the chin. I choose to drink club soda and be myself tonight. Then you would tap on your collarbone. Even though I'm afraid of being rejected if I don't use, tap under the arm. I choose to be happy, knowing I don't have to worry about drinking and driving. Now that you have learned the basic steps to tapping, let's look at a couple of different ways you can use it to help you cut back or quit. Your first action for today is to practice the basic tapping protocol and tap on one of your limiting beliefs that you identified on day 11 in the lie detector solution. Or try it with some cravings or negative emotions that you may be experiencing using the following examples. Tapping away your cravings. Rate the intensity of that craving. Then create a setup statement like the following and say it 3 times while tapping on the karate chop point that's on your hands. Even though I really desire to use so badly, I am not sure that I can control myself. I totally, completely love myself. Tap 3 or 4 rounds as you get in touch with your craving, how much you want to drink, and how good you think it will make you feel. And as you tap on each point in the order below, state your reminder phrase. This desire to drink out loud. Notice that it is okay to change the wording of your reminder phrase as long as it keeps you focused on the same issue. So the top of the head, this desire to drink. The eyebrow, this desire for alcohol. Under the eye, this desire for alcohol. Outside of the eye, this desire for alcohol. Under the nose, this desire to have a drink. The chin, this desire to drink. The collarbone, this bone, this craving for a drink. Under the armpit, this desire for alcohol. Now, stop and rate the intensity of your craving again. Okay? Is it the same or lower or higher? Keep tapping until you reach 0 and the craving is gone. You know, they say the craving lasts 15 seconds. So this tapping is a great distraction, okay? Even though I have this desire for alcohol. Then you go all the way from the head to the eyebrow, the outside of the eye, under the nose, under the chin, collarbone, and under the arm. I choose to be totally free from this desire. So he goes through the whole thing at this lesser intensity, even though I'm craving this drink all the way down. And then on the very last one, under the arm, he says, I choose to be totally free from the desire. Now, be aware that when you tap on a craving, troublesome thoughts and feelings might come up. Here are some common ones. So you're tapping on this craving, and then your mind comes in and says, if I don't have a drink, I'll feel too deprived. And then you're tapping on the craving, and that little voice comes in, I don't have the strength to refuse a drink. Okay, that's the monkey mind coming in, the subconscious mind. So then you're tapping, okay, to reduce a craving. It says, I can't live without using. Then you're tapping to reduce a craving. It says, I can't be relaxed and happy without using. And then all of these rejections, they're all coming up because they're grist for the mill, and they're coming up because they're to be extinguished, not to depress you, okay? I cannot sleep without a drink. So you're talking to your subconscious mind. I don't know how to socialize without a drink. All of these objections are coming up. A drink is my reward for working hard. Using drugs, I don't like to tell anyone, tell me what to do and what I can and cannot do. Even if this tapping does work, I'm afraid it won't last. Now, these are all other rejections. If thoughts like this do resurface or surface, take a moment to tap on those as well. For example, the setup phrase. Even though I lost all my money through my drinking, I deeply and profoundly love and accept myself. Reminder phrase, this sense of loss. The setup phrase, even though I believe a drink is my reward for working hard all day, I totally and completely love myself. The reminder phrase, this belief that drinking is my reward. Okay? Tapping away negative emotions associated with your drinking. As you look through the solutions in the 30-day program, you might feel some of the following emotions: guilt or shame because of your addiction, fear you won't be able to get your drug, anxiety when you don't know what to do, unhappiness because you don't have what you want, and anger because you are not allowed to have a drink. The setup phrase, even though I feel ashamed because I'm addicted to alcohol, I totally and completely love myself. The reminder phrase, shame. Positive choice rounds, I choose to be free from shame. I choose to be free from the desire to drink. So you know the emotion that comes up with it, shame. Even though I have no desire, I'm dealing with this desire to drink. I'm also tapping into shame and removing the shame through tapping. That's right. Tapping away pain and discomfort. When physical symptoms or pain arise, you can use the tapping to get them to subside. For example, even though I have a terrible tension in my chest, this is a setup phrase, even though I have terrible tension in my chest when I don't use drugs or alcohol, I deeply and profoundly love myself. And then the reminder phrase, the tension in my chest. Taking a deep breath, everybody. And this is it. Here's the key to this. Identifying and finally resolving your core issues. Wow, this is a profound, deep today. Identifying and finally resolving your core issues. Isn't this what it's about, people? If someone can be traumatized in 30 seconds, why can't they be healed in 30 seconds, a day, a minute, or an hour? This is from Rick Wilkes, EFT expert. As often as we say psychology, the problem is not the problem. In other words, for problem drinking or excessive using drugs, drug use is not the problem. As we talked about for several days in the first few days, using is a symptom of an earlier emotionally laden problem that you need to clear in order to be truly free. What made you a drunk? What did it? Why have you felt the need to hide out, to unwind in an unhealthy way, to disassociate from life, okay? This self-destructive habit are unresolved emotional issues that almost always still stem from unmet needs and traumas that were experienced, big ones or little ones, in childhood, okay? Painful events such as excessive teasing, emotional shaming, bullying, physical or sexual abuse, abandonment due to work, drug, or alcohol addictions, divorce, or death. Severe accidents, catastrophic illnesses, witnessing a violent crime such as a rape or a murder, being kidnapped, failing in a class, being laughed at, dropping the ball that caused the team to lose the game. A mountain of unexpressed and unresolved emotions: shame, guilt, grief, betrayal, anger, resentment, fear, low self-esteem. You are trying to cover up or numb these feelings with drug use, period. You have to neutralize them to release them. Oh my God, this is powerful. This is what Dr. Cindy loves, these aha moments. All you have to do is release these feelings to heal them. This is why this program takes time, because you have to stop and look at why you did this, okay? You're trying to neutralize or release them. And your second action is to go back to your day 4 list of people whom you need to forgive and practice tapping to neutralize and release those feelings. It's a lot of heavy duty feelings involved around this. Okay, so here's an example. We're almost finished, folks. Emily, one of Jack's coaching clients, Jack Canfield, the guy who wrote the book, is a high-level executive in a bank in Paris. She drank alcohol heavily to relieve the pressure of her highly stressful life. And she was also a type A personality. In other words, she was a workaholic. In their first session working together, Emily described her intensely overcommitted life. In addition to her job, she was on several boards of directors, was a consultant to other financial institutions, and was planning her own wedding. Now, as a perfectionist, seems like she would have panic attacks by now, she had to do everything at the highest level of excellence, which added more stress to her daily life. When Jack began to explore where the pressure to do so much and do it so perfectly came from, Emily remembered an incident when she was 5 that occurred in the kitchen of her family's Paris apartment. The economy was in recession, and her father blurted out to her mother, "I'm not sure we're going to have enough money to feed all these kids." In Emily's 5-year-old mind, she took her father's statement literally and decided in that moment that she would become the perfect child in order to be one of the children who didn't go without eating. Wow, wow, wow. She would keep her room clean, say yes to every parental request, always do more than what she was asked to do, and she did it perfectly, looking for ways to contribute without being asked, but never express her own needs for fear of being a burden. Later, she got straight A's in school, participated in every extracurricular activity she could, and was always nice, never causing trouble. When she tapped into her fear of being abandoned and not having enough food, if she wasn't always perfect and overproducing, she neutralized the fear that had been driving her all these years. She was able to reduce her perfectionism while also maintaining her excellent job performance. She resigned from 2 boards, reduced her consulting load, and also hired a wedding planner. And having eliminated the anxiety that had been her constant companion since she was 5, she stopped drinking. See, tapping on cravings himself is also oftentimes successful, but identifying and clearing specific childhood events that underlie your drug usage is the deepest, most thorough way to apply tapping to cravings and addictions. So, here we are to your action steps, day 13. You basically are going to practice, of course, tapping. Simply practice this diagram every day until you no longer need a diagram and you can just tap. This is one of your most powerful tools you're going to use here. And revisit day 4. That was a forgiveness solution. If you're still holding on to any judgments, anger, or resentments towards anyone or yourself, tap to neutralize these feelings. And Dr. Cindy's going to finish this off, and I'm going to go ahead and tap myself because I just thought of somebody that I need to ask forgiveness for. So on the companion website, it's http://day13.solutions. You'll find more suggestions and examples that you can use tapping for to cut back or to stop using altogether, including tapping on negative thoughts that might come up when you are repeating your 30-day vision statement or your affirmation from day 4. You'll also find a 15-minute audio recording by Jack that will guide you through a powerful transformational process to help you identify and resolve any underlying emotions and unconscious limiting beliefs that may have been motivating and driving your excessive drink usage. Lastly, you'll want to find some guided tapping sessions led by tapping experts. I love you. I know you can do this. This is a fantabulous day. I believe in you. Get to the gritty, nitty gritty in your itty bitty little life. I love you. Heal yourself well today, my people, and I will see you in your dreams. Good work.